time. Not ready. Not ready. Low on things. Not ready. Not ready yet. More time.
Hello and welcome back to another PvP video. This time it's the Spiritborn. Of course, it's the Spiritborn's turn. It's the expansion of the Spiritborns after all. So without any further ado, let's just jump straight to the build. Now again, it's mythics, I know, but if you don't have the mythics, there will be an alternative version to the build. Just use the drop down menu and switch to the non-mythic version if you don't have the mythics. But what I want to show you is that this is kinda it's not exactly a must, but it's very big convenience to have Starless Skies. Not only because it increases your damage significantly, but also because of this. Now, see, we are playing Touch of Death here, and you see that now I have 5 points in Touch of Death, right? And
More loyal friends you'll not find.
there is a cooldown, 13 seconds, okay? So, if we are playing a skill with cooldown, how the fuck are we gonna spam it and actually play this, right? We cannot possibly play it with 30 seconds cooldown for PvP. So, there is a note here that says Touch of Death is now also a core skill which costs 70 vigor and has no cooldown. So you take this, suddenly you have 8 points because it's now a core skill, and Starless Skies gives you 3 to core skills. And now we have 76 vigor cost instead of cooldown reduction. And what we can do is actually freaking spam it. But if we remove the Starless Sky, then I start with full vigor, and let's see what happens. Now it says not enough vigor to use that skill. Then you have to attack with the basic skill, and then attack again with the core skill, with basic skill, then with the core skill, and this is what you will have to do if you don't have Starless Sky. So that's why I'm telling you that if you have Starless Skies, it's a very big convenience, because you can just permanently do this and not worry if you have to use your basic attack or not. But in order to achieve this, you need Starless Sky and a good row of the Midnight Sun, and I don't mean on the affixes, I mean on the unique effect. When you critically strike, you regain, in this case it's 44% of the vigor you've spent in the last 2 seconds. You want this somewhere in between 40 to 50%. So, having said that, let's go to the build. For the helmet we are using Andario. Andario is dog shit for a unique effect. Just ignore the effect, ignore the resistances. What we are using it for is the all stats, which is very nice. They always roll at the high range. So even if you don't have them as greater affix, which you shouldn't care, it's 160. What you need as greater affix, it's not really a must, but it's very huge boost. I mean, especially in PvP, is greater affix on life on hit, because this is what gives you very good and very significant survivability, especially combined with healing received, and then the attack speed, of course. All the other things are shits in this helmet, and I explained it already in my previous rogue video. For example, let's take the inherent poison resistances. They are shit. Why? Because now that the game is reworked yet again, right, for I don't know which time, maybe they will rework it the next season as well, completely everything from scratch. They forgot to rework this. How come they forgot? Well, because now everyone have to solve their resistances by one piece, and this is done either by Rakanot's Wake, by Ian's Blessing, or by Tyrion's Might. You literally need just this or this to max out your resistances, and then rolling resistances anywhere on your gear is just wasted. It's just garbage. And not only that, they made resistances weighted. So when you get an ancestral legendary, most of the time, like 70% of the time, it's a greater affix on the fucking resistances, which are fucking useless. And this is useless as well. Maximum poison resistance. Why do I have maximum poison resistance? This already gives me 12.8, let's say even 10% maximum poison resistance. Can I get, okay, this is 10%, this is 70. Can I get them to like fucking 100? No, it doesn't go above 85. So why the fuck do I have maximum poison resistance here when it's fucking useless? Okay, why do I have poison resistance? I can fucking remove this and my poison resistance are, you know, already solved. This is what I'm talking about. The poison damage, 21k, and by the way, 21k when I already have glyphs, you know, on level 100 maxed for the poison damage. Otherwise it's like something like 16k base damage. 16k. My just this, you know, just this applies like 400 or 300k poison damage. Let's take a look. See? And it goes to hundreds, you know. It just dog shit, this. So, but the most important affixes are again all stats, life on hit and attack speed. You don't care about anything else because anything else about this helmet is just complete garbage. Then Tyrio's Might. Again, on my rogue video I explained why Tyrio's Might is better to use than Rackanot's Wake or Ian's Blessing. The reason is because again Spiritborn is dex based character, so dodge chance is the best survivability when it comes to PvP, and you want to stack dex and dodge chance. Tyrio's Might gives you damage reduction. If you don't hit masterwork on the damage reduction, it will give you at least 30% damage reduction. If you use normal chest piece, you cannot get damage reduction on legendaries, and you cannot get you cannot roll dodge chance on the chest piece. You can only temper dodge chance on the chest piece once, and it cannot be greater affix. So if you get Tyrio's Might, you can get instead 30% damage reduction, sacrifice the tempered dodge chance, and instead of using Ian's Blessing or Rackanot's Wake, you can actually get boots with greater affix dodge chance. Which is better. Now you get greater affix dodge chance and 30% damage reduction, instead where you will get just non-greater affix dodge chance, and that's it, because you have to solve your resistances by using Rackanot's or Ian's Blessing, which don't give you damage reduction or dodge chance. So for the boots you want dexterity, movement speed, dodge chance, and the dodge chance should be greater affix. If you cannot get the dodge chance as greater affix, get the dexterity as greater affix. Then you want to temper movement speed and try to max out your movement speed, which is 200%. The cap is 200%. Mine is almost 5% away from there, but that's fine. And I have movement speed on the amulet as well to reach this value. Now don't temper chance to slow. Why? Because as you can see, the aspect that we are using is the one that slows close enemies and gives you 20% multiplicative damage to slowed enemies. So you have slow permanently as a crowd control, and it won't be lucky hit, it is just guaranteed. So obviously don't temper chance to slow as I did. Again, I did it because it's half-ass gear, because I play this gear on my rogue as well, and it's not optimal for either the Spiritborn and the rogue. The gear is half-assed for both of them, and I still kill everyone, or almost everyone, you know. So I'm telling you what the optimal gear is if you want to play specifically just on the Spiritborn, which you should, by the way. I mean, you should make gear specifically for the Spiritborn and specifically for the rogue if that's what you want. So yeah, don't temper chance to slow, temper chance to daze. Now if you cannot temper chance to daze with the Spiritborn, because I'm not sure about that, the rogue can temper chance to daze. So if for some reason you cannot temper chance to daze, just give it to your rogue, make an out rogue or something, and just temper chance to daze. Why? Because daze is another crowd control effect, and you know, with this note, where was it? This one here. You deal 30% increased damage to crowd controlled enemies. So you have slow, which is guaranteed, but then daze is another crowd control, and it prevents them from using skills, which is very, very nice. Then on the pants you want dexterity, max wife, dodge chance, barrier generation, and dodge chance, temper dodge chance. And the greater affix you want is dodge chance, like this one, but if you cannot get the dodge chance as greater affix, then get dexterity as greater affix. And the aspect that you want is the assimilation. Here you want dexterity as greater affix, max wife, crit chance, barrier generation, and damage, or vulnerable damage, because both damage and vulnerable damage scale your poison damage. And the aspect that I'm using is a cursed touch, but you can use really whatever you like, because you get 3 seconds of guaranteed vulnerability of the exploit, right? When you damage an enemy, they become vulnerable for 3 seconds, but it's 20 seconds cooldown. So I prefer consistency. This just makes them vulnerable almost all the time, and poison damage scales from vulnerable, so the enemy have to be vulnerable. Then on the amulet you want greater affix dexterity. You cannot compromise with this, by the way, it's a must. Just find an amulet with greater affix dexterity. You don't need the others to be greater affix, but the dexterity should be greater affix, and it's very easy to get an amulet with greater affix dexterity, because it's a dodge based build, and if you remove this you basically lose 1000 dexterity, almost like 900 dexterity just from the amulet. So, and dexterity not only gives you dodge chance, it gives you damage. I mean, just take a look at this damage, 381k, now it's 300k. So you want crit chance. It's not necessary to be greater affix really, but if it's like this, then you can see that I have let me see, 76% crit chance. And on the weapon I'm using Lidgar runes, which gives me another 25% crit chance, and I'm at 100% crit chance, which means that every hit that I'm doing is guaranteed critical. But it's not really necessary to be greater affix, and especially if you have Starless Skies, you hit it once or 2 times the crit chance, you can definitely get away with just normal affix here. And even if you are not at 100%, it's still okay. You don't need total armor here, because as you can see, I'm Torment 4 and I have 2000 armor. For some reason, because of the paragons and everything. If you remove this, you'll be at 100 armor. But guess what? Here I have diamond. So, and the skull gives me 240. So I can easily remove this, because for example now my resistances are not maxed, but they are, this one gives me 30 resistance to all elements. So I will be maxing them out anyway, just by putting back the empty amulet. And if I put skull instead, I will be at 1040, which will max out my armor. So instead of armor you can get HP or damage, but I think life would be better. Just take life. Then you want to temper dodge chance and movement speed to max out your movement speed. Again, for the rings I already explained. Now finally for the weapon. This is very nice weapon. It's extremely good weapon, and in my opinion is one of the best Spiritborn's weapons that you can use for any build, but it's not good this season. However, if there were no pucks in the Spiritborn, this would be the best weapon, in my opinion. Because the unique effect is nice for PvE. For PvP is not reliable because it's heavily RNG, but the stats are very good. And not that much the overpower damage, because again the overpower is RNG, heavily RNG, but you get a lot of full stats, which, you know, dexterity, more dodge chance, and dodge chance is very hard to stack at this point. A lot of max life, and most importantly, a lot of crit strike damage. And now we are playing this here, the Noxious Resonance. What it says is your critical strikes cause your poisoning on an enemy to burst, dealing 100% of the total poisoning instantly to them, and 20% of it to surrounding enemies before removing the poisoning effect. So that's why you don't see the damage over time on the PvP videos that was in the beginning of the video. You saw that there was no damage over time on them, right? That's because when you hit them, the damage is instant. All the damage that they will take in 5 or 9 seconds or whatever is just instantly. They receive it instantly. The time effect is being removed, and everything is instant. And this is only when you critically strike, and that's why you want as high crit chance as possible to ensure that almost every hit is critical. And not only that, but let's see what it says down. Damage increased by 30% of your crit strike damage bonus. Multiplicative. And my current damage is 513% multiplicative damage. And this is just insane. So that's why you want crit. This one gives you a lot of crit damage, and you can see that I have 1700 crit damage. So for the skill trees, I'll just go briefly because everything will be in the skill description. So we are playing this, the Withering Fist, just 1 point, and this is very nice because if you are at a distance, you can just instantly move to your target. And not only that, but again, it's poison, so it applies poison. Then this one, you take the accelerated Withering Fist, which is that enemies poisoned by your basic attack deal 20% less damage. That's literally 20% damage reduction just by, you know, hitting them like that. Then you go down, take 3 points in Vigorous. That's because casting core skills increases all vigor generation, and again, touch of that is now core skill. Then balanced exertion for your core skills deal more spend more vigor, right, but deal more damage. Then 3 points in focal point, 3 points in apex, and 3 points in diminishment. Just 1 point here in Mirage, and that's so that we can take this unrestrained power. Then we take unrestrained power because you deal 12% increased multiplicative damage while you are unhindered or unstoppable. And then we take Toxic Skin. When you activate it, you become unhindered for 5 seconds. So you have 5 seconds in which you are doing 12% multiplicative more damage. And the passive is very nice because enemies that attack you are poisoned for almost 20k poison damage. Then we take, obviously this is the enhanced toxic skin and measured toxic skin. 1 point in Ravager, then enhanced Ravager and measured Ravager. 1 point in Endurance and 1 point in Perseverance. Then we max out the counter attack. This is very important because only when you have 5 points in this skill you get 15% dodge chance. Let's say that you have 4, now you have 10%. Okay, so you really need 5 points at least. Then counterattack enhancement and reinforced counterattack. Then we take just 1 point in this. This is useless, but we need it just to so that we can take this one, nourishment. And what it says is your healing is increased by 20%, additive 20%. And whenever you heal, you're doing your poison damage is increased by 9% multiplicatively, and you're healing all the time. Why are you healing all the time? Well, because when you take Touch of Death and then what Enhanced Touch of Death does is Touch of Death infection heals you for 2% of your maximum life per second for a total of 18% maximum life. So you have healing all the time when you're attacking enemies with this skill, and then on top of that you have the healing from Andario. So you will be healing all the time, and this will be active all the time. Then we take 3 points in Ravenous and 3 points in Oppressive, and of course we take the Poised Touch of Death so that we can spam it. Finally we take the Hunter, that's just, you know, just because we need an ultimate, so that, you know, we can activate these things. I mean, you can get them, but they are useless if you don't have the ultimate. So this one is when you cast an ultimate skill, grant 15% increased damage to elites, and players are elites. Then this you don't need it, but you know, you just take 1 point so that you can take this. This gives you even more damage. And then finally we take Noxious Resonance. So that's for the skill tree. Then for the Paragon, it will be again in the description, but just briefly, on the starting board you want to play place the Colossal glyph. Then we take the Sapping board, where you place the Kenny glyph. Then here we take the Vicious Shield, where we place the Exploit. And by the way, for the Spiritborn, you need all 300 Paragons to max everything in terms of damage and damage reduction. For example, I am at 276, and there are still nodes with damage reduction that I can still take, and more damage. Here again, more barrier generation, which would be even more useful for the build. And I still haven't taken all the magic nodes, and I certainly haven't maxed the exploit glyph. Like that, there is more strength here that I can take to max the exploit. So in order to fully build specifically the Spiritborn, or maybe specifically this build, you need all 300 Paragon points. And this is because for some crazy reason, I'm not saying that it's not good, but again, it's bad for other classes, because the Spiritborn clearly has way more magic nodes than any other class on every board, right? On my barb, I got everything, all the magic nodes. On my Sork, I got all the magic nodes. On my Rogue, I got all the magic nodes on all the boards. I completely maxed all the glyphs, all the magic nodes, everything, all the rare nodes, everything on 5 boards. Here I'm barely at this. You know, that there are a lot more magic nodes, rare nodes that I can get, and I'm certainly quite far away from maxing the exploit glyph here. But anyway, then we go up and we take the Convergence, where we place the Spirit glyph. And finally we take the Revealing, where we place the Bane glyph. And that's it. My glyphs are all 100. What we are playing as houses, like the Spirit Hall, is Gorilla and Centipede. And the reason we play Gorilla is because when you use Gorilla skills, you get 5% of your maximum life up to 30% as a barrier, like for 3 seconds. And then when you have barrier generation, it will cover more HP, this barrier, and you permanently have barrier. So for example, I don't have barrier now. When I start using skills, you'll see I have permanent barrier, which is like 2.5k. It's not anything crazy, but again, we are not playing the full barrier build here, and you don't need to play the full barrier build for the because it will give you insane damage and everything. For the insane barrier, you need the the runes that gives you the druid barrier, and you need to be able to spend all your resources fast. So you will be playing the meta Kepaleke build, right? And Banshlord, which is shit because then you don't have survivability. And as you could see on the video, all these people that play this build, they just die like flies, right? I almost forgot to explain something about the skills. So why you need counterattack, Ravager, these two in particular, and the toxic skin. The wood again is, if you cast it, you just get a lot more damage to players. But this one gives you significant amount of damage. I mean, it can seem that it's like 16.3k, but it's significant. Maybe it doesn't show here, but on my quill volley, it definitely works. So here it doesn't show because there are too many numbers, but believe me, this is significant amount of damage. And the counter attack is a must, not only because it increases your dodge chance, but also because when you activate it, you dodge all direct attacks for 3 seconds, and you can recast it. So you can activate it 2 times in a row, which means that in the next 6 seconds you will be dodging all attacks. So when you see that someone is jumping like that to you, or you're jumping like that to someone, you can just immediately activate it, and just you'll be dodging everything. This significantly increases your survivability. So these two are very nice. And then again, this one, what you want when you engage is just activate your ult, as I showed you. Then you activate basically everything, like 1, 2, and then 4, and just attack all the time. Last thing is this. So if you don't have this weapon, this is very good alternative. I still haven't tested it, by the way. I will be testing it, because I think this can be even more broken. Although this one not only that gives you all stats max wife crit strike damage, but also the inherent affix is 400% damage to elites. And again, players are elites. This is very good for PvP. But this one is also very good because 400% damage to healthy enemies. And you could see that I'm almost one-tapping them with this weapon, right? If I hit them once, they will be healthy, and this is like crazy amount of damage over time if you can roll it with greater affix. And then the unique effect is enemies affected by more damage over time than their remaining life are executed instantly. I don't know if this works in PvP. I intend to test it, but when I'm done, I'll let you know. But I think this could be a good alternative, even if the unique ability doesn't work. I mean, the unique ability of the nasekem is not reliable for PvP as well, so it doesn't matter. The affixes are very good on this weapon, and you're not losing that much dodge chance, by the way. So for example, if you see now I'm at 78, so if I put this one, of course it lowers my dexterity significantly, because I'm losing almost 500 to all stats, which means 500 to dexterity, which would be further amplified by the percentage dexterity. But I'm still at around 75% dodge chance, which is very, very nice. So this weapon can be extremely good alternative for this. And if you don't have this, but you have this, don't be discouraged. I mean, this is still very, very good for this build. That's my opinion. I haven't tested it, but I'm almost sure I'll be testing it, and I'll probably be right. So that's all for this build. If I have missed something, let me know, and I'll tell you. Again, there will be a non-mythic version as well, so if you don't have the mythics, go and check that out. And with that being said, I'm out.